Kush and Chemtrails, the world's most dangerous podcast.
Hey everybody, it's Buck Ballsy.
I'm Emmett Flores. Welcome to another episode of Kush And Chemtrails, episode 16.
Hey, light it up, light it up.
Yeah, buddy.
Let it burn.
1-6. Do
Pass
some
it
numerology
around.
there. 1 + 6 is 7. 7 is a lucky number. Go to Las Vegas. Boom. That just happened.
Got him.
That just happened.
Shake 'em up, shake 'em up, shake 'em up, shake 'em.
Roll them in the circle of homies and watch me break them with the 7. 7-11. 7-11. 7 even back door, Little Joe. Woo! Cube. Today was a good day.
And some dominoes. All kind of numerology in there. Dominologists.
Ooh.
Shout out to all the dominologists
Not
out
the
there.
dominologists.
Hey, I got a shout out to get out the way real quick. Shout out to one of our biggest fans, Butterfly. Thank you so much for your love and support. And yeah, I could go on with more people, but just wanted to make that a special shout out. I wanted to get to it last episode.
Yeah.
But we had our guest on, so that was so awesome.
Who is Butterfly?
Butterfly is a family member. I guess she's going by Butterfly because maybe that's her social media or that's what she's known by in the streets. I don't know. She just told me to shout out Butterfly, so that's what it is.
There it is.
One love, Butterfly.
Shout out Butterfly.
Yay.
You look beautiful as you exit your chrysalis.
Like monarchs, huh? That's some MK Ultra shit too.
It is. It is indeed. Let me get that lighter.
Did I steal your lighter?
Probably.
Shout out to what, Carlos?
Carlos.
We only got one lighter today,
We
Carlos.
only got, hey, shout out to Carlos, man. He took a fucking paternity test, 99.9%. That was his daughter. He got custody. Congratulations, young man. You deserve it. Absolutely.
That's real talk?
That's real shit.
Hey, congratulations, brother.
Yep.
That's cool. I thought you were just saying some fly funny shit, but
Nah, man.
real talk?
That's real talk,
Well,
bro.
shout out to you, brother.
Yep.
And I'm sure that was important to
Yeah.
you in your life. And
Yeah, he was fighting for custody.
we
and-
fathers, so we know how important that is, period. So much
So,
love, man.
Yeah, he
Since-
got that.
Since we're doing shout outs real quick, Shine Boutique, that's in Ohio, Toledo, or you can get it online. Shine Boutique, shout out. That's one of our followers too that
What do they?
always supports the
What do they
pod.
sell?
Clothes, mostly for women, but they got everything.
That's what's up.
So it's a SHYNE, Shine Boutique. So
Holidays are here. Check that out.
get your shine on.
Shine Boutique.
Cap One, that's one of our followers who also leaves comments often. Cap One, I know you've responded to Cap One quite often. Marlon,
Indeed.
my little brother Marlon be shouting us out and leaving comments and feedback. So please keep them coming. We love it, man. We appreciate it. That's what we do it for. And that gives us some direction and lets us know we're doing something right. So thank y'all.
And if there's anything you want us to cover, anything at all,
Yep.
let us know.
Questions,
Politics,
guests.
conspiracies, anything. Let us know. We love that shit.
Yes, sir. We all got our blind spots, so maybe put us on game on some shit
Yep.
that we can research.
How dope was that last episode, though? With your boy Hampton.
Shout out to Hampton. Thank
DJ
you so
Ham
much.
X.
Yeah.
And Rachel B.
Rachel B.
Rachel B Photography.
Yeah, man, that was a big milestone for us here at Kush And Chemtrails.
Our first guest.
And I'm thankful for them. So, yeah, that shit was exciting and fun. Hope you guys tuned into that one. If
Yeah.
you haven't, go check that one out.
That was great.
Mm-hmm.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. We had a good time. We did indeed.
How are you, brother?
Did indeed. I'm good, man. I'm real good.
Super.
Yeah. Woo!
I love it.
Know what I'm slanging?
I do.
So-
I feel
Yeah.
the pipe layer
Yes, sir.
or the brick layer. I don't know.
No, that ain't done.
Whatever.
How you doing?
I'm good, brother. Let me think what I've been up to. You know, what is this? Movember, where you don't shave your beard. So I'm getting my beard back in order. And I don't really got nothing interesting to say. Just happy to be here again. I'm in good spirits, so that's the best thing. And yeah, man, just keeping the flow alive.
You're wrong.
What happened?
You're wrong. I can tell that the fucking drink and the smoke is affecting you. You just said it's November. It's fucking December, dude.
Well, yeah, I meant I've been getting my beard since.
Ah.
I'm keeping it going.
Okay.
But you're right. Thanks for the correction.
I was like, this dude lost his fucking mind.
So December, yeah, the equinox and the procession of time, it goes on, but the continuum is the same, So, yeah, I'm just loving life, bro. Nothing special.
Yep.
I try to enjoy every day like it's, the birthday or a holiday or, Father's Day, Mother's Day, just try to appreciate those around me and be cognizant of my actions because that shit matters. So, yeah, man, every day is important, and I don't put any more on any other day. Except for when we do our podcast. That's special.
Special day.
Special day. Oh, yeah.
It's the Sabbath.
Hey.
Damn. It really is, too. A bunch of Jewish people out there are like, he's right. It is the Sabbath.
Tip my hat to them. Hello.
It is indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, buddies.
I think that means peace. So
shout out to
shalom.
the 12 tribes of Israel. And the
Shout
12
out.
imams of Islam and the 12 disciples of Christianity. There's that magic number 12 again.
Mm-hmm.
12 fucking hours on a clock.
Oh.
You know why they do that?
Talk to me.
12 works better than a 10. 10, eventually you start having to use decimals. 12, you never do. It always ends up being an even number.
Time is an interesting concept.
Yeah, well, with everything, with that 12, it repeats itself. We'll do a special on that. We'll do a pod on that. But that 12, it's all over the fucking place.
And we can probably interconnect that with a talk on time.
You're motherfucking right.
Because we're on the Gregorian calendar, and I believe, over time, different calendars and different ways of counting time, as you're alluding to, have been used. So what they mean, what kind of, because our body is on a cycle as well, just like the solar bodies, so how that may change our understanding of reality and things like that, how that affects us, just like the frequencies,
Yeah.
So what the Gregorian calendar means and, why we still use it today, even though it's not, necessarily the best calendar. Who knows,
Yeah. You know what's awesome? In the book of Enoch, he says that a year is 364 days. I thought that was pretty interesting. I wonder where that where the extra day came from.
Right.
What the deal is with that.
Yeah.
I've heard stories. I just can't really remember it. That's why I'm not going to go ahead and repeat it. But
I've heard things too.
I've heard things.
We can go into it in depth one time.
Yeah, we should.
Because what happens is me and you research so much, but now that we're doing the pod, you have to be able to regurgitate that shit.
Yeah.
Where before we just added it to our realm of knowledge, you know, because we were just building a library in our mind that unlocked and answered different questions.
Now you got to be accountable for what you say.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, hey, yeah, by the way, there's this thing that's kind of maybe sort of. Just look at it yourself. It's like, why the fuck am I listening to you then for, bro? If you're not going to inform me, fuck you. Do this myself.
Man, but like I told you, we got to start recording some of our because they're not even like, they're not production meetings or anything. We're just talking on the phone, but that should be so good, bro. Yeah. I be thinking sometimes our phone calls be even crazier than the pod because we be going off, bro. It's like you get in, and then as soon as you give me a moment to get in, I'm like, and then you be like right back at me, and it's like, man, we got to get some of this on the pod. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then we do our best.
The agents that listen to those calls thoroughly enjoy themselves, and they feel like they're really getting paid for something that's worthwhile now. Oh, this is why I'm listening to the fucking phone calls. Let me go ahead and fucking type all this down.
I love the phone call too because I don't have to be accountable like on the pod, so we just be all over the place. Shit don't have to have no segue or nothing. You know what I mean?
No segue and no fucking like. Sometimes you hold back, even if you want to be the world's most dangerous podcast. You also don't want to be a fucking douchebag. Right. You can be a total douchebag on the phone.
Yeah.
Woo!
Uncensored. Yeah, man.
That's what it's all about.
Good times, bro.
Indeed. Hey, I hit you up earlier this week. It might have been last week, but we were talking about Jeffrey Allen Lash.
Yes.
Fucking weird, right?
Man, I was so crazy, so left field. It's so interesting how these stories can be right in front of you, but you never even heard about it or never. And I guess, me and you know why, because they don't get the coverage maybe they deserve, and they get brushed under the rug, and we get told what to pay attention to.
Exactly.
But yeah, when you brought it to my attention, I was blown away, bro. As you kept reading and telling me more, it was just, what? And I went behind you and looked into it, and sure enough, like, damn near verbatim what you told me is exactly what happened.
Fucking weird.
Weird is not it's X-Files, bro.
Weird. Yeah. So guys, check this out. There's a guy, his name's Jeffrey Allen Lash. Look him up. Basically back in 2015, this is what happened. He was leaving a Bristol Farms grocery market that's out here in Santa Monica and different places, and I guess Southern California. I don't know if they have them in other places, but anyways,
I'm not sure.
He's leaving a grocery store in Santa Monica, and he dies, and the people that he's with, they'd known him for quite some time, 20, 30 years, something like that, and it was actually his fiance. And she was convinced, and he had told her this whole time, that he was a human alien hybrid that worked for the CIA. And apparently, he had a few girlfriends, turned out. And what was odd was every one of these girlfriends was convinced that he worked for the CIA and that he was a human alien hybrid. And he'd been with these girls for decades, bro. This one woman he was with since 86.
And when you say convinced, you mean that that's their belief, not them just saying, this is what he told me.
No, they believed it.
They were like,
the
he
dude,
worked for the CIA.
Yeah, the dude, they had new cars every fucking, like, however long you can go without getting a plate is how long they would go with a car. And then they'd turn it in and get a new car. And they never had plates. And all the neighbors attested to that. Like, any girl that came around or whatever, and then him himself, they just no fucking license plates on these cars.
I got a homie that does that who will remain nameless. He might be a hybrid too then.
But trip, right? So that's weird.
Just playing, go ahead.
No, I feel you. So, and then apparently this dude fucking ate raw meat, and they were trying to dismiss it in mainstream media as, I guess there's a particular enzyme that fights, I don't know if it was just cancer or just illness in general, that you can get from eating raw meat.
Okay.
But it's a secondary source because the primary source of that particular enzyme is in vegetables. So why wouldn't you just eat vegetables instead of a bunch of raw meat? But he was claiming, this is what I do, this is my diet, or, this is what I need.
Right.
So anyways, he dies leaving Bristol Farms, and because his fiance is convinced he's a fucking alien human hybrid that works for the CIA, he told her, if and when I die, just put my body in my car, and my people will come get me. So that's what she fucking does, bro. She wraps this dude up in a blanket and she puts him in his fucking Ford Explorer, and she takes off with her assistant to fucking Oregon, and for a couple weeks, and then a couple weeks pass, and she returns to the house, and the dude's body's still in the fucking Explorer. So she's like, fuck. All right, now I have to call somebody. So she calls first, I guess, her attorney, because she's like, I'm fucked.
Hold on before we go further.
Yeah.
So if his people didn't come and get him, does that mean that he wasn't a hybrid alien?
Well, there's a lot of weird evidence that I'm going to get to in a second. I don't know what that means exactly.
Did they say anything about her being distraught from his death?
Not at all.
Because it just seems crazy. She'll just leave him there and bounce. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So, anyways, she goes ahead and calls her attorney because she realizes, like, this is going to be weird.
Before she called the authorities or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then calls the authorities.
Okay.
And then the authorities come, and obviously they rule out foul play because, like, it was apparent he died from natural causes or whatever. But he's probably pretty badly decomposed
after
at this
a
point.
couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks in the SUV. And so they go on the pad, bro, and they find 1,200 firearms.
Fuck.
Worth $5 million.
Where do you even store that in a
worth
damn pad,
$5 million, bro. This is in the Pacific Palisades, bro.
Damn.
In the Palisades.
He had a whole fucking shed.
$5 million.
Not even a shed.
7 tons of ammunition, bro. 14,000 pounds.
Who had a bunker
of ammunition, bro.
Holy shit.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. It gets weird, bro. Right? It's
right.
starting to be like, okay, wait a minute. Okay. He didn't have any fingerprints.
Damn. That's documented?
Yeah. That's documented.
Whoa.
No fingerprints. And no dental records to identify him with.
Whoa.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey Allen Lash has never had a fucking tax return, even though the man was fucking 55 or 60 when he died, and never had any record of previous employment.
Yeah.
Dude's 60 years old, bro.
He's a ghost.
And none of that
the grid,
exactly,
completely,
exactly.
100%.
So it totally correlates
Damn near
with
impossible.
it definitely with the CIA part,
for sure.
right?
Right.
There's no proof yet that he's a human alien hybrid. The fucking fingerprints are a little weird.
What if he had another name?
I mean,
or
I don't
another
know.
identity?
I don't know. Yeah, that could be.
But still,
I don't really
no
know.
fingerprints.
Yeah. He was 60.
The dental
actually.
records still.
Yeah.
Because some of those things, it doesn't matter what your name you're going by is. They would find your dental records.
Right.
So yeah, it's still
So
odd.
okay, well, trip on this. Remember, I said the assistant went with the fiance to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Dawn Vadbunker. Okay, now she was convinced that this motherfucker was a hybrid too, and she was even convinced that he was turning her into a hybrid. In fact, her mom said, that she started fucking eating raw meat, in particular bison meat, that this girl Dawn did. And her mom's name was Laura Vadbunker. Vadbunker is Vadbunker. Okay, that's the mom. So anyways, Dawn goes to Oregon. You got it?
Damn, doing too much, huh?
It's all good.
Sorry, everybody. Sorry, technical difficulties.
No, it's all good. So check it out.
Go ahead.
Dawn goes to Oregon. Just get that.
Yeah,
get that
go
back
ahead.
on. And Dawn goes to Oregon, and fucking after a while, her mom doesn't hear from her, so she files like this official missing persons report. All right. And the authorities go and they find her, bro. They find him at this motel, and she's unharmed. She's there with fucking the fiance's name is Catherine Nebron. Okay, Nebron. N is in Nancy, Ebrawn. And they're there, and then that's what prompts her to go back. Like, yo, there's this miss. We're looking for her. So then that's when she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go back and look and see if they went and got Jeffrey out of the fucking car. So that's when she splits. So anyways, back to Dawn. She's unharmed. She's there. Then fast forward a week or however long, she sends a letter in her handwriting. Her mom verified it's her handwriting that she was with like-minded people and she was okay, not to worry about her. And that's the last she ever heard from her, dude.
Shit.
She hasn't seen from her or heard from her since. And she gets her bank statements mailed to her house, and her daughter's bank account has remained exactly the same since that day. Like no one's touched it. So she's not living off that money.
Right.
If she's still alive.
Right. Damn.
Crazy, right?
Crazy's beyond.
Right. And here's another thing the mom said. The mom said, she goes, I didn't believe any of that alien shit, but one thing that I could never explain, she said that whenever she would go and hang out, because she would hang out and she met Jeffrey quite a few times, and every time she was with her daughter and Catherine and Jeffrey, that a black helicopter followed him around the city.
Damn.
And she would ask him, what the fuck is up with that helicopter? Because she just started noticing it. And she said, I could never explain that.
So she's kind of like, I don't know about the alien shit, but maybe the CIA.
Exactly.
Something. There's something,
Right?
she's saying.
Right?
So everybody's pretty much saying, I can't verify, but there's something.
Yeah.
Is
I
what
mean,
I'm
the
hearing.
fucking chick is eating raw fucking bison meat, bro.
Right. And see, the thing is, too, we've been trained to think of alien, again, I've said this before on our podcast, as like E.T. Now that we're talking about giants and Nephilim and, the Anunnaki, and even when you get into like the history of some of the, some of it's folklore, or when the ancient gods like of Greece and Rome, like the Titans and, Goliath,
Right.
and there's other ones, I can't think of right now, but pretty much what I'm saying is like giants have been said to mingle with man.
Absolutely.
Or take, the
Right.
women of, their spoils of, whatever they, because some of them are said to have a taste for human flesh.
Right.
But, when I think of hybrids, I just think of that's just entities that we don't deem as human, but are
Right.
kind of like humanoid figures, whether they're giants or whatever,
Could be a Neanderthal.
mating with a human, yeah.
Right.
And they have an offspring.
Exactly.
So it makes me think that humanity may be full of hybrids
No, for sure.
as we speak.
Yeah. Absolutely. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
So there's another thing that was weird was, remember I told you he had a bunch of girlfriends? Well, so they do some digging around and they figure out, dude, in addition to the fiance, he had quite a few, like 4 different girlfriends. One of the names that stood out was a woman named Tara. And they did some digging around and they found out that Tara was a real person. They found her best friend and she was like, oh yeah, I remember Jeffrey. That was like the CIA guy, right? And he was real like to himself, and Tara was pretty scared of him. And then Tara disappeared, bro, in 2005. So now you have 2 women that have disappeared around this dude, bro. And that's not like a conspiracy. That's a fact.
Right.
Like they've disappeared. So that coupled with the no fingerprints, the no dental records, the no previous employment record history, the no tax returns at 60, bro.
Yeah.
What? I mean, what the fuck?
Right. That shit is.
And $5 million worth of firearms, 14,000 pounds of ammunition.
It leaves a lot to be questioned, and we didn't get any answers.
Right. And what the mainstream media is like, oh well, he was just a
womanizer,
a
right?
Womanizer,
Manipulator.
Who was getting, conning these bitches out of their money and shit. And they're the ones that paid for everything. Maybe that they did pay for everything, but what about everything I just said about the 2 missing women, about bitches eating fucking
it doesn't all add
bison,
up.
about a helicopter following around when the woman is saying, I don't think he's an alien, but there was a helicopter that followed us around all the time.
That's not a manipulator or a pimp or something like that, a womanizer that's just come up with some elaborate scheme, because that's beyond the realm. Man, we've all heard of guys or girls for that matter who have manipulated or taken advantage of people for money or whatever the case may be, just to get their way. And they do some crazy shit. I've seen some crazy ass lies get passed by to get over on people. However, that takes it to another level. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a hybrid, and getting these women to believe that and buy into that's some occultist shit, damn near. That ain't no just manipulation or women.
Well, trip on this, remember?
Womanism. And you know what? It was Zeus that I was thinking of when I said Goliath, because I was talking about the folklore and shit. I didn't want people to think, what the fuck is he talking about?
Goliath was a giant.
Bible. Yeah.
Goliath was a giant.
And when I started
there's a lot of
looking at
theories
it,
that he's Nephilim.
All over the fucking world, bro. Yeah. Every culture and every civilization has stories of giants.
For sure.
So the fact that we're talking about it today isn't that far off.
No.
It's kind of like the fact that it's not being talked about is weird.
Yeah.
Because it's always been a thing amongst human history, And now we just act like that's just some shit in the movies. Right. That's the danger of the fucking movies, man.
Well, that's the point of the movies.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just as far as I just thought that was really weird that the dude, all those things in the mainstream media is just like, yeah, he's a womanizer. And it's like, yeah, but what about where are the women? Where are those 2 women at? And
why are we so quick to allow something to be passed or discredited just because of somebody's past? Right? Like, okay. Even if he was a womanizer, still explain those other things though.
Yeah,
like you're saying,
none of this makes any sense.
Yeah, come on,
dude. He has
now.
no fingerprints. He has no dental records. He has no fucking job employment.
The point I was trying to get to too is maybe if he really believed that shit.
Yeah.
If he got those women to believe it, maybe he wasn't manipulating them. Maybe he really believed that shit. Let's say it wasn't even true. He probably really believed it was true. Maybe he had something going on in his mind. Yeah. Remember we talked about a beautiful mind and how brilliant he was, but then at the same time he had something not quite right. Maybe this guy was just brilliant but had something not quite right and thought he was a fucking hybrid.
But where are the women?
Maybe he was even abducted. I don't know.
Where are the women? Where are the women? Where is his fingerprints? Where's his tax returns? Where's his employment
I'm with
history?
you, bro. I'm with you.
And here's what's really weird. We talked about him possibly being in the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about MK Ultra.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The ride or die, his fiance, okay, he kept her like boxed up in the bathroom, bro. A non-functioning bathroom, no running water or anything. Okay. She slept on yoga mats. Okay. And around her and Post-its in her own handwriting were all these weird like messages, and one of them was like, if he can do it, I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. And it was like repetitive, putting it in her head that like she could like do it, but he didn't do it to any other girl. Every other girl, it was all good, but for this one girl, and it was like he made her fucking They said it was a form of isolation therapy, and right away I was like, yo, that's some MK Ultra shit, bro.
So much comes to my mind, like with the guy, when we're putting together, he could have been working for the government as well as a human alien hybrid. Then it's just like, because what we were talking about historically is giants mating with man, so
Right.
that would be a natural thing. Well, it's not natural, but you know what I'm saying. It's in physical. It's not done in a scientific way. It's not done by putting genes together. Now, if this guy's, CIA or whatever, maybe he was claiming he might have even been made in a laboratory.
Right.
Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because me and you both know they do a lot of studies with that type of stuff. We've talked about some of it before, because even before Neuralink, they figured out how to mix like our DNA with a pig's DNA. And the only question that came to my mind is why? Like, what are we fucking doing? And I guess they say it's for medical advancements or something like that. So who knows what type of creatures they come up with in these government laboratories. Yeah.
And there's been things, dude, that's like, like it goes back to what you were saying about the Nephilim with the fucking, mating of the quote unquote fallen angels with the daughters of man. And then, giants being born to them. Look at the army unit in Kandahar.
Right.
That's fucking crazy, bro. That's gnarly.
Yeah, it was.
So look at you guys back in, it was in 2002. There was a army unit that came up missing in the Kandahar mountains in Afghanistan. So they sent in some Green Berets to look for these guys, and it was such a isolated region of Afghanistan that they had to fly in via helicopter and get dropped off. And they spent a couple days searching for him, and they did not find him. And then about 2 days later, they found this fucking goat trail. It was like a well-paved goat trail going around the mountain. And they go up there, and there's like a plateau area. And there's all these fucking like huge caves right there. These huge cave systems are all over Afghanistan. And then they see the mouth of the cave, and they in front of the mouth of the cave, they see a bunch of fucking radio equipment and like bones. Yeah. And fucking like U.S. Army fucking equipment and shit like that. I mean, like camouflage, whatever the fuck. And so they're thinking their boys got dragged in there by like some fucking animal.
Something popped off.
Like a mountain lion or something.
Right.
They go inside the cave, and there's a drop off inside the cave, and it's like super steep, and they're like, oh fuck, we can't like rappel down it or walk down it for sure, you know what I mean? Like, so we're gonna take defensive positions outside the cave and wait for this fucking thing or things to come out, whatever, mountain lions, whatever the fuck they are, and we're just gonna smoke them, and so they wait, bro, and all of a sudden a fucking spear, a giant spear, bro, like huge, flies out of the cave and impales one of the Green Berets. Okay. And then fucking, they're like, what the fuck? And all of a sudden, a fucking giant, a redheaded, long red hair with a red beard. Let me get that lighter. Runs out of the fucking cave with like a fucking weird animal loincloth type deal on. And fucking, they're like, what the fuck? And he pulls the spear out of the dead soldier, and he's like screaming, and they're like, fuck it. Their instincts kick in, because they were so taken back at first, Typically, Green Berets are so well trained, bro. At the, and when it's on, at the drop of a fucking, hat, they're ready to go.
But they're trained to fight people that look like them.
Yeah, not 15-foot motherfucking giants. So they start shooting them, bro, and they're hitting them all in like the chest, and he's not dropping, bro. So immediately, like, they all focus on his head. Right. And he dropped within seconds. He falls down, bro. And they check their boy. He's dead as a motherfucker. Obviously, he got impaled by this giant fucking lance. If you can imagine how big it was. I mean, the dude's 15 feet tall, so his spear was probably fucking like, who knows, 8 feet tall, Maybe bigger, who knows. Anyways, so they get this motherfucker on a helicopter. They get taken out of there. It gets taken out of there. They're expecting to get debriefed when they get back to base, and they are. But as soon as they say the truth, like, yeah, man, this fucking giant came out of the fucking caves, they're told, like, nah, you need to figure out another story. That ain't what happened. Then so they rewrite it without the fucking giant in there and replace it with, like, they were attacked, and by enemy troops or whatever, and they fucking are made to sign non-disclosure agreements. Well, finally, some guy comes out.
Hold on, pause right there.
What up?
You know what struck me?
What?
I don't know if you were
A
about
giant
to get
lance?
into that. All of it.
A giant lance struck you in your chest.
They said they sent a second helicopter, right?
Yes.
To remove the body.
Absolutely.
How the fuck did they get that fucking thing onto? I think in the description, he kind of said it was tough.
Yeah, it was a net.
But in my mind, I was like, no, that's beyond tough. If that motherfucker was, I forgot how much pounds they said.
1,100 pounds.
Okay, so maybe a team full of men could lift 1,100 pounds.
Well, they would have just had to get the net like kind of secured under them, and then they could have used the fucking helicopter to kind of pull it the rest of the way, like kind of like shimmy it up around
as
him.
they secure it around him. I see what you
I
mean.
imagine that's probably what they did.
There's a way. Yeah.
Something, yeah. Because I don't know.
As he was telling the story, that was what popped into my head. Like,
yeah.
Because I was trying to.
It was probably about 20 dudes.
I'm like, dude.
20 dudes.
His legs probably were huge.
1,100 pounds. Like, so about a little less than 100 pounds each, though.
That's like 6 men. If you'd say a man is 200 pounds approximately.
And there's 20 of them though, so they could do it. Figure it out.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, 1,100 pounds.
A person in a adrenaline rush situation could probably
1,100
lift a car.
pounds of dead weight. Too,
I know.
Bro.
I just thought about that. Like, bro, how the fuck did they even get him on that cargo net?
So yeah, bro. And then they took him to Bagram Air Base, and then Al Udeid, Qatar, and then from there to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, bro. And there's videos of him.
Something about Ohio, bro, because they said a lot of the giants that have been found here or some of the greatest archaeological findings. Ooh, I tore that word up, but y'all know what I mean. Findings here in America were in Ohio.
Yeah.
And I tripped off of that. But yeah, you said they took them back to Ohio?
Yeah, they just, let's see, what was it? Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And then what I noticed too was there's videos, because I was researching Kandahar, and there's research of them doing all these cave clearings out there in Kandahar. And in the Vietnam War, there was these elaborate tunnels that the Viet Cong would use. And these guys, American soldiers, were called tunnel rats. They would go in these tunnels and fucking find like the enemy or any shit that they left behind before they fucking split. A lot of them, there was booby traps in a lot of them. Like some of them would flood. Motherfuckers would drown down there and shit.
In Kandahar, didn't the locals even have myth or stories of
Absolutely.
Giants? Yeah, they warned the soldiers.
They warned the soldiers
that
there's giants that live in caves and they eat people.
Right.
And
as I was doing some research, there was a particular one on YouTube. It's the history of giants, so people can look that up. It was naming so many places, bro. Like I started taking notes, and then I was like, yo, this is pointless. I'll be sitting here just naming a list of places. Like they went through all out history and people's accounts, and there's like on all continents, accounts of giants. This is mythology and archaeology, So yeah, this shit's crazy, bro. And specifically the redhead giant. And
exactly.
They often say, I don't know if the Kandahar met this criteria. He might have been a darker skin, but I know here in America and in South America, it's a white red-haired giant.
Yeah, they're white red-haired
They
giants.
say white, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, pale skin.
Yeah.
So I was like, whoa.
Yeah. And
it's a trip.
That goes back to the Nephilim. They talk about the fucking different fucking features and characteristics that they had. These giants had 6 fingers and 6 toes.
6 fingers, yeah, I saw that
and,
too. Yeah.
2 rows of teeth. But we talked about Neanderthals and different things that existed on the planet at different times. And what's interesting is at one point or another, they had 4 species for sure that were living on the planet that we know of. And it might even still be to this day. We don't know what they're covering up or what maybe they just don't know about.
Right.
So, and you had Homo sapiens, and then you had Neanderthals. You had Homo floresiensis, which is the Flores man, which were hobbits, bro. Little fucking like 3'7" motherfuckers. Okay, they found their skeletons, and then the Denisovans, I think it was what it was, and they were big, bro. They were big as fuck. If you guys do research, look up. Let me find the word for sure. Yeah, it's Denisovan, Denisovan, and they were huge, bro. And at that time, they had better tools than the humans at that time. So when we look at the monolithic structures that were built, maybe you can attribute it to the Denisovans.
That goes into one thing I did want to touch on, because one of the stories or things I did write down was the Incan creation story, because in their folklore, giants were used to explain how a lot of our landscape got to be the way it is. And I saw that a reoccurring thing in other stories too. They used the stories to explain, well, this is why the land is like this, because the giants kind of made it like this, you know. So their creation story was in 5 segments. 1 was the age of the gods. 2 was the age of the giants. 3 was the primitive man. 4 was the heroes, which were men who were demigods. And then 5 was the human kings, which is, I guess, present day. So that kind of goes into what you're saying. Like, we're kind of taught that there's an evolution where things are getting better and better, you know?
Yeah.
But nobody ever talks about the de-evolution, or because, you know, you kind of feel bad. You don't want to think that you're getting worse, or times are getting worse, or people are getting worse. But as you get further and further from the source, maybe that's why people are so in tune to keeping up with bloodlines and things of that nature. But a lot of this does come down to bloodlines, you know? It is what it is. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, the creation story, and how they even included giants in there. So maybe giants were either a part of the human story and experience at one time, or they are still, or, you know, we just don't understand. I don't know if that's because it's clipping or what. It is what
It'll
it
be
is.
fine,
though.
Yeah. I ain't even tripping.
But
so,
yeah, that was from the Incan society, because I've seen it all over. But the way that they had it broken down into 5 like stages, I thought, oh, that's cool, that's interesting, and often used to explain the landscape. And like I said, I've seen that all over the world, and that does make sense. You know how you say Stonehenge, or, you know, even the pyramids, and we don't understand. And
there's
me and you
plenty
talked
monolithic
about,
structures that are like, what the fuck?
Like,
or megalithic.
It could have been technology that is lost, or maybe they could have been bigger, stronger people. You know?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love it though, man.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And it goes back to in the Old Testament, when they talk about, when Moses writes about fallen angels mating with the daughters of man, and there being these, you know, Nephilim. Now, if you look at the wording in the King James Version, the way it's worded makes it sound as if Moses is making a distinct separation between the Nephilim being of these fallen angels and the daughters of man, and saying that they were already there. And what he says is there were Nephilim in those days and also after, right? So even hearing it like that, you pretty much can gather like, oh, okay, they were already there,
right,
when the daughters of man procreated with fallen angels,
right,
and then they were there after,
right.
But that's in the King James Version, because when you read the book of Enoch, which is out of the Ethiopian Bible, which is part of the Apocrypha. You guys, if you don't know, the Apocrypha is the books of the Bible that were removed. Do you need the lighter, brother?
Go ahead, bro.
I
got long arms. I grabbed that motherfucker.
Were the books of the Bible that were removed from the King James Version. Anyway, so
don't stop the flow, baby.
Yeah,
Keep it flowing.
Yeah. So in the book of Enoch, it actually says that the giants were a direct result of these fallen angels procreating with the daughters of man. And what a couple Bible scholars will argue that, okay, cool, well, the son, the daughters of man is meaning the bloodline of Cain, because Cain killed Abel, so there was Adam and Eve, and then Cain and Abel, and then Cain killed Abel, and then Adam and Eve had Seth. So then they're saying that the sons of God are not angels, but they're the sons of God, would then be the holy bloodline of Seth. So they're saying Seth is the people, the descendants of Seth should not mix with the descendants of Cain, because the descendants of Cain are evil. That's kind of what they're saying. But there's only 4 times in the Bible that the term sons of daughters of men, or excuse me, the sons of God are used, and that is to talk about the angels. Yeah. So that's pretty much correlates with that. And then again, like I said, in the book of Enoch, which is 1,000, well, actually the book of Enoch was like 200 BC, but we're talking about a pretty much direct, it says what it is.
Which pretty much gives us credence or understanding on why certain books were omitted from what we understood to be the Bible. Yeah. Because, again, it's almost like this censorship shit that we're living through today. Who was the deciding force on what books were going to be put in and what books were going to be?
The Council of Nicaea.
There you go.
Nicea.
So they censored what we know now 2,000 years later, or however many years later, you know, and it still is the one that stands, you know, based on their decision. So then you go outside of that and read these extra ones that weren't given to us, and then you're like, well, there's the connection right there, you know. So that's how it makes me feel. And it's empowering, bro, because it's almost like me and you talk about sometimes how they want us to feel insignificant instead of feeling our power. And to me, they also want humanity to feel like, let me see, what am I trying to say? Like they give us the Darwinian theory as if that's the end all be all, you know what I mean? So then it closes your mind to these type of conversations and what could have been and what, you know, the past really looked like. And it's just much more fruitful and flowerful and all encompassing instead of a straight and forward and a natural procession type thing where that's obviously trying to fit a narrative, you know, which is obviously been documented. So
yeah. Well, you know, real quick, brother, let me kind of delve in just a little bit onto the Nephilim.
Go ahead, man.
So I wanted to cover this, and I want to give references to our, you know, to our listeners and everybody watching that. So you can look in Genesis 6:2-4. You can look at Job 1:6, Job 2:1, Job 38:7, and Daniel 3:25, and that's when they make references to the sons of God, and every time they're talking about angels. Another thing that they'll tell you is that angels can't procreate. Well, what it says specifically in the Bible is that angels in heaven cannot procreate. These angels left their proper dwelling place and they came to earth. There's a distinct difference between angels in heaven and fallen angels.
Interesting.
So, yeah, that's another thing. And then, let's see. The Bible actually gives over 20 examples of giants and their tribes. And then there was something about the book of Enoch. Oh, they always say, because it's part of the Apocrypha, that it's not a valid source of information, the book of Enoch, right? But take into consideration that the book of Enoch is quoted in the New Testament. It's quoted by Jesus, and it's quoted by, I believe it was Judas, who was not Judas, the disciple who betrayed him, but the one who was, he had a, it was either his stepbrother or his cousin, they believe him to be. And anyways, he quoted him as well. So if he's good enough to quote and speak upon him with such dignity and respect,
right?
And if Jesus quotes him,
what we're supposed
exactly?
to
Why would
his gospel?
Exactly. Why would we omit his gospel?
Yeah,
you know,
I got you.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't
at all.
Yeah,
yeah,
or it does.
Exactly.
As me and you
or
know.
It does, yeah. I like that better. It makes perfect sense.
It
makes perfect sense.
Unfortunately.
But
and that's the crazy thing too, as we unwind some of this stuff and we look at how it's been done, the deception, it's crazy because we kind of sit in awe. Like, damn.
Yeah.
These things that were done. Obviously, I think that's where a lot of people get lost, is because they're like, they couldn't have done all of this. No, it's just like life to me. you make decisions when it's time to make those decisions, and then you move on to the next thing. So no, they may not have foresaw where we're at now and technology and how they're able to control our minds then when they, omitted this book. But it's the same type of strategy and tactic, So it's a mind state. It's the control mind state. So that's where people get lost when they're
Atari didn't know.
They're like, everything can't be a conspiracy. You're like, no, it's not. But building on thought and people, a small group of people making decisions for the masses, that in itself is a conspiracy.
Just like I was saying, Atari didn't know that when they created that fucking game Pong. Have you ever played Pong? And that little thing goes back and forth?
Right.
They didn't know when they did that someday you're gonna have fucking Madden or how good
virtual
it was
reality.
Yeah, they didn't know. That was just what they were doing. Like,
right.
Cool, man. It's a cool game where people can fucking really like the attention and play it for hours, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
They did. It captivated just like it captivates now for whatever reason, and all it did was bank.
That's why when we're doing our research, and sometimes you get frustrated or lost, and you're like, why am I even looking all into this? Some people just don't get it, or they just don't care. It matters because each step and each day and each action does matter in the long run.
Yeah.
And really, that's what kind of the people that are in control, they get.
Exactly.
And us, the masses, just kind of deal with. And if we changed our paradigm, maybe we can put forth things, the way we want, because that's the mind flip the game, So I think it's dope, man. Since I got the mic, I'm going to just touch on a couple of things because I don't like looking at this damn phone. I'd rather just talk off the top. But I looked into something Walter B. Emery was talking about. People could look into him. I just like to give people their credit and not act like it's my original work. He was talking about the disciples of Horus. And let me read to you what it says. It says, toward the end of the 4th millennium BC, the people known as the disciples of Horus appear as a highly dominant aristocracy that governed entire Egypt. The theory of the existence of this race is supported by the discovery in the pre-dynastic tombs in the northern part of Higher Egypt of the anatomical remains of individuals with bigger skulls and builds than the native population, with so much difference to exclude any hypothetical common racial strain. Another excerpt says, advice to initiatives in the temple of Edfu offers a glimpse as to what the builder gods may have looked like, since the initiatives were instructed to stand up with the Ahua, gods who stand up, who measured 9 cubits tall. That's approximately 15 feet or 4.6 meters. So he pretty much, not only, when we go through the Bible, oftentimes we can't match that up with actual history. Sometimes they do, that's why we watch some of these stories, where they're trying to give you a picture of what Christ's face may have looked like. Or I watched something recently where there's a God special on Netflix. It's pretty good. They got Morgan Freeman doing a lot of the narrating. He's the host, actually. And he went to Jerusalem, where I guess they say Christ was crucified, or it's the closest place to where they can, at the time, they know this is where they were keeping people and this is where they were crucifying people. So this is where they've come to the closest proximity of where it could have taken place. So people go there and it means something to them. So I say all that to say it's not often where the Bible can be found in history, where you can actually dig it up like archaeology and time it with what was said and the time frame matches up. But here he found evidence of 15 feet men on the walls and in the ground, and of that time frame in the writings, so I thought that was interesting. So yeah, that was the Walter B. Emery's disciple of Horus. So that was cool. Yeah, man, you sent me on a journey just bringing up the Afghan one that our soldiers fought.
The Kandahar one.
And I know you could even go in further on that one, because I know you said something about the ones that had to guard the prisoners and the smells that were coming up or something. Or was that separate?
Yeah, it was on the same video. This one
I saw that too.
Yeah, this one soldier, it was fucking weird, said that underneath the Haditha Dam in Iraq, which It's a dam on the Euphrates River that was built in 1976 by the Soviets and the Iraqis. Excuse me. Of course, the Americans took it over when we took over Iraq. And there's a prison at the bottom of this dam, and obviously the river runs over it. And the Iraqis, these are Muslims. These aren't like Christians or Jews. They have no reference to the Bible unless they're studying it over there.
Right.
But they go down there, bro, and they beg not to go down there. They're screaming like when they're down there, like, fucking get us out of here. And it's so creepy that the soldiers even like take straws to see who's gonna take the soldiers, the prisoners down, because they don't want to do it. And apparently, bro, there's a let me see exactly where it's at, dude, so I can give the listeners a reference. But in the book of Revelations, there's a part that says, let me find this. I mean, I can just tell you real quick, but this shit is creepy, so I kind of want to find exactly where it said that. Okay, so check it out. It says, release the 4 angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels who had been kept ready for this very hour and day and month and year were released to kill 1/3 of mankind. So basically what they're saying is they believe that these angels, these fallen angels who were bound and imprisoned underneath the Euphrates River are underneath that motherfucking dam. And those soldiers are fucking freaking out. And they're like, dude, there's demons down here. We hear demons.
Man.
And the soldiers even were like report hearing weird sounds down there.
Shit, bro.
And then there's a weird smell that comes from there. And it has a weird sulfury type smell, like a very weird smell. And there's a theory that certain places of the earth are quote unquote gates of hell. And they think that's one of them. And that's what that smell of sulfur and everything that's coming out from underneath that dam
is wicked, man.
It is weird.
It's crazy because it seems like some of all this stuff's kind of coming together. We use different words for it, but like evil and good, like God and devil, giants, Nephilim, you know, aliens and hybrids, and you know, even those can be attributed to some of these things we're talking about. It seems like it's all coinciding even with the Bible and history. It's lovely, man, because then you can really start to see the deception. And once you get past the deception, it brings you to like almost like a new awakening, like to where you're open to a new world. And I told you, like, it's cool to me not to know, like, because there's so much, like me and you have a good grasp on things, but still you open yourself up to new perspectives, new paradigms, new understandings, and then you just realize you don't really know that much. So it is cool, man. I don't know about any demons underneath the ground and all the sulfur smells. I don't know if I want to experience that, but I definitely want to travel, man. I've said that before because I believe there's something to it, man. Even when I saw that tomb where they said, I guess Jesus was, I don't think I could get access like Morgan Freeman, but I'd still like to just be around the people, feel the energy, you know, see what all the hoopla is about. I hate to call it hoopla, but, you know, to me, that's what it is. But there has to be something to it, you know, because obviously we know here in America, there's so many different religions and trains of thought, but over there's not too much. And a lot of it has been passed down from generation. Right. So it has a lot more meaning to them. And we know that a lot of this stuff is in our DNA, you know, so when they believe it and it's their reality, I think they are able to manifest certain things based on that power, that tradition, that belief, you know. Another thing that came into my head was believe has a lie right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
BELIEVE. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to be careful what you believe in, you know, because shit, I don't know about you. Well, I do know because I know you well. Our beliefs change often, man. I think there's a difference between beliefs and your morals and your standards, because your morals don't change that much, but your beliefs, they can change based on new information.
They should.
And that's the bet. They should. That's the key, bro.
They should.
That's the key.
If
Sorry,
you if
I took us on a
you're
tangent.
thinking the same at 50 and you at the same as you were when you were 15, what the fuck did you do, bro, with your life?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It doesn't make any sense.
To some people, it's about accumulation in this world, and I think that's where I do agree with some religious texts and religious beliefs that people carry. Is that not fully though, because I do believe that heaven is on this earth. We are to me experience heaven and some of what you may consider hell on this plane right now. But what I'm saying is, so I'm not like, what I'm saying is I'm not putting off my pleasure to a afterlife and sacrificing in this life for an afterlife. But I do appreciate the train of thought of something bigger than you, you know, sacrificing yourself to the good of man, being a servant, you know. And that's what a lot of religions teach. And I think, you know, me and you have even said it, that's what a politician's supposed to be, you know, is a servant to the people. And a good pastor or preacher is a servant to the people. And I think we should be vessels and servants to each other, you know, to humanity. So I do appreciate that in religious texts, you know,
right.
Just being a part of a bigger fellowship or worship. But yeah, you just got to be careful what you believe in, what's your intent, and where is it going, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, the Giants, man, the red-headed Giants. Go ahead. Where are we going next? Because I got a couple of things. I wanted to say, like, Abraham Lincoln spoke on Giants. And then also, what was the last one I had wanted on? Oh, we were going to get on the Smithsonian. I wanted to touch on them because.
All right. Well, we can tie that into that tribe in Nevada with that. So let me touch on this real quick.
Go for it.
What's interesting is, you know, those giants got red hair, right? Okay. Well, Sasquatch is a giant with red hair, right? The Yeti is a giant with red hair.
Right.
So you start to wonder what's going on. And then you look at, you know, in Afghanistan, they were talking about these cave systems. Remember how detailed they said they were? And that there were thousands of them. Like they'd be on the ground, you go fall into one of them. And that goes back to the beginning of the quote unquote Caucasian race. You know, I looked up the distance from the Caucasus Mountains to Kandahar, and it's 2,000 miles. And so you wonder, like, I'm pretty sure it's really not. It sounds far, but it's really not. Especially those are all mountain ranges. So I'm sure that there was these cave systems built for a reason. It seems like they were built for living, if they're so
for sure,
if they're so, you know, well built. And then if you go 1,100 miles to the east of Kandahar, then you come to the Himalayas, and that's where you find the Yeti,
right,
and more cave systems.
Right.
So then I wonder if they all correlate and they tie into one another. Anyways, fast forward. So then you got July 1924, this dude named Fred Beck, and this goes on to Sasquatch, okay? He's over, have you heard of Mount St. Helens in Washington?
Yep.
The volcano that went off in 1980? Okay. So him and his buddies have been out there. They've been working for like 6 years, and they have this little cabin, and they there's no windows or anything, just a little door and barely enough room for him and his 5 buddies. And they go out there and they'll work for like a week or two, and they sleep in this fucking cabin, and they're gold prospectors.
Okay.
So they're out there. And one night, one afternoon, they're walking out the cabin, and there's a fucking big ass footprint, bro, outside of the cabin, like a huge footprint. And they're like, dude, what the fuck? And it was 19 inches long. And they're like, yo, that's too fucking big to be a bear. So they're kind of like tripping on it, whatever. And they decide, you know what? If there's something that big around here, we should probably fucking, you know, stay together and not walk, you know, drift off. And typically that night they would do, at night they would have like a little fire and like cook and shit like that. They're like, let's fucking skip that shit tonight, man. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So they're chilling, and they need some water though for the night. So two of the guys, that dude Fred I was talking about, Fred, his name was Beck, and his buddy Hank, and they didn't give a last name, but him and his buddy Hank, they go out and they're going to the stream. The stream's only about 100 yards. It's about a football field away from the cabin. They're walking over there to get some water, and all of a sudden, Fred's talking to his buddy, who doesn't respond, and he just looks over, and his buddy's got his rifle pointed up. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yo, what the fuck? And he looks up, and he said that, like, in the moonlight, totally, like, lit up, you could see this big fucking, like, ape. And he was like, what the fuck is that, dude? And his buddy's like, fuck this. Doom, 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 and just dumped on that motherfucker, right? So that thing fucking, like, let out this, like, crazy, like, screeching howl, like some weird whistle.
How?
So, but when he's doing it, he's like looking behind him. So they're like, yo, dude, it's like he's communicating with like other creatures. Not like he was yelling at us. It was like he was. So they just
calling for backup.
Yeah, bro. So they fucking bone out. And when they get to the cabin, they go inside and they start barricading the door and shit. And the other dudes inside are like, yo, what the fuck, dude? What's up? Like, where's the water and shit? And they're telling them what happened. And they're like, what? And fucking, they're like, all right, cool. So they're all kind of like spooked now and shit. Because they know their boys ain't going to lie about no weird shit like that. So they don't know what the fuck happened. So they're like, fuck it. They're in the pad, bro. They go to sleep. And all of a sudden, dude, boom. The fucking cabin just fucking gets hit with something. And they're like, what the fuck? And it knocks one of the wooden planks off the fucking wall. And there's a fucking like space.
Throwing stones.
Where they could see, and they look. Yeah, and they were throwing big fucking stones.
I've heard that there's a lot of stories of the giants.
Exactly. They throw stones.
Good stone
exactly.
throwers, yeah.
So they look out there, bro, and there's 3 of them, bro. They can see them clearly. And one of them sees them like looking, and fucking throws a stone. Boom. And they're smart, bro. They realize, like, okay, they can see us there. Let's go on this side and do it. They can't see us. So they're doing it from that side. And all of a sudden, dude, one of them fucking things reach inside the cabin and grab an axe, bro, and pull the axe back. But one of the dudes sees it and, like, instinctively is like, fuck that. If I turn it this way, the axe won't go out.
Pull it out.
Yeah. And he does that. It gets stuck, and they just shoot that motherfucker. Bah! Through the thing, and he drops the axe, takes off running with the rest of them and shit. The next morning, they wake up. They go out there. The fucking pad is, like, thrashed on the outside, and there's rocks all over. Like, big fucking rocks, bro.
Damn.
All over.
That's
all
insane.
over.
That's hot, man. That shit. Fuck.
Right?
What do you do?
That's fucking nuts, bro.
Hell yeah.
That's crazy as fuck. And then you got areas. What was it? The monster you were talking about in Louisiana?
It was kind of like the little 3-foot species that you were talking about. It was I don't know the name.
Oh yeah,
I wish I would have looked
yeah.
into it.
I remember that shit when they were like, "He's up in the tree." That shit. No. This is like a Bigfoot motherfucker.
Oh no, this
thing.
was a small. These are small ones that that exist in the swamps. They say.
Yeah. Well, this dude in December of '81, this dude named Mike Woolley, he's out there fucking hunting, and out of the brush comes, like, he sees the brush shaking, and he's like, oh man, he gets his rifle ready, and it's a little baby deer. And the deer fucking collapses in front of him and shit, and he's like, what the fuck? And it's like completely out of breath, and he's like, oh shit, he's running from like a huge adult deer. I'm gonna fucking get me a big one right now. And he sees the brush is shaking violently, and he's like, oh, it's on. And he goes, fuck, what the hell? An ape jumped out, bro. And he's like, the first thing he thinks is a fucking monkey escaped from the zoo.
Right.
And he's like, what the fuck? And he looks at it, and then he's like, what the hell is that, bro? And then the thing kind of cocks its head at him, and he's like, hey. And he thinks, oh, this is one of those fucking, like, anti-hunter guys. And he's trying to spook me to get me out of here. So now he's pissed. He's mad, and he starts cussing at him. Hey, motherfucker, fuck you, all this shit, right? It's not moving. Just keeps looking at him. He's, oh, man. And it was like, starts spooking him. So he picks up the scope, not to shoot, but to get a better view of it. And when he gets a better view, he looks, and he goes, fuck, that's not a person with a mask on. That's something, because its nostrils are flaring. Like, it was real cold outside. It was like 30-some degrees or something. And you could see the fucking smoke, or not the smoke, but the steam coming from its nose. And he's like, what the fuck, bro? And then all of a sudden, it lets out one of those fucking sounds, bro. The whistling sounds.
How?
Like that.
Chewbacca.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, another one pops out. And he's like, oh, fuck this shit, bro. And He takes off running, dude, and he hears brush shaking on the side of him, and he looks, and the motherfucker, one of them is like side, like keeping up with him, side, like right next to him.
Damn.
And he's like, he totally could have just like got me, but he's purposely like running slow. And he's like, fuck, and he's scared as fuck. He runs to his truck, he gets in, and then he looks in his rear view, and he sees the other one come from the other side, and he realizes, oh shit, they were acting like dogs and hurting him. You know,
fuck.
like hurting him to his car.
Yeah. Shit.
It was an intelligent move.
Right.
Red hair. They made the shrieking noise. Same as the red-haired giant who had a lance and stones, and they got stones, right?
That's just gnarly.
It's all over, dude, and it correlates, and it all ties into everything that they fucking have talked about. Look at this shit. Look at this. This one's weird, dude. 1955, a mother, a father, and 8 kids. They go camping, okay, in Montana. They're in a tent, and it's a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, and then their 2-year-old daughter or 2-year-old little sister, Ada Mae, okay? And they're in the back of the tent, and the little girl's in the front of the tent where the zipper is, and her back is turned towards the zipper, bro. And they're like sitting in there talking and shit, and all of a sudden, dude, a hairy fucking reddish brown arm comes in and just scoops her up, bro, and takes her away.
Oh, he friendly, dog. That's Harry and Henderson. He good.
Right? So they think it's a fucking bear, bro. They run and tell their parents, yo, a bear just took Ada Mae. And they lose it. Like, oh my God, bro. Like, our daughter's just being ravaged right now by some wild beast.
Oh, shit.
And so they fucking, they launched this like intense search, bro. And they're looking for it. And for 2 days, bro, 2 days, they can't find this fucking girl, bro. And they find her 900 feet, bro, from the camp 2 days later in like a teepee that was totally, you could tell it was made. And she's got like fucking food and shit in there. And she says, and I quote, "Mr. Bear fed me berries. Mr. Bear kept me here. Mr. Bear cuddled me."
Damn. We need to bring her on the podcast.
Right?
Shit.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
That's crazy as fuck, bro.
Alive, huh?
Yeah.
I thought that story was going to go the other way.
No, she was alive.
That's wild.
Well, here's one that did go the other way. Father's Day weekend, 1969. 6-year-old Dennis Martin, his brother's dad and his grandpa, they go out to the Smoky Mountains for Father's Day. Every year it's a tradition, right? They go out there, they bump into these other kids. The other kids are like, hey, let's play hide and go seek with our parents. Our parents can come look for us. So Dennis's dad is like, all right, go hide. He goes behind this tree. He's 20 fucking feet from his dad, bro. Behind a tree, bro. He disappears. Intense fucking search. They got Green Berets, the biggest fucking search in Smoky Mountain history. It's like 1,500 motherfuckers looking for this kid. They can't find him, bro. So this family comes forward, and it's a husband, a wife, and 2 kids. They come forward, and they tell the authorities, hey, when this kid went missing, we went and talked to some fucking park rangers that same day about looking for bears. And they told us where we could go see bears, but to be really careful. Well, when we went out there to go look for bears, we heard a child scream. And when we looked to see where it was coming from, we saw an ape-like figure with a child over its shoulder running up the side of the mountain.
That ain't no fucking bear.
And they thought they were doing it for publicity.
Damn.
And they never looked into it. They told them where they saw it and everything, and they never looked into it because they're like, yeah, right.
Did they ever find this boy?
Nope.
Shit.
Never found him, bro.
Sheesh.
Never found him. Crazy. Trip on this. Spring 1952. Keith Parkins, 2-year-old, Ritter, Oregon. They all go out to play, him and a bunch of kids. They all come in. No fucking Keith, bro. The authorities search 4 miles from the ranch, bro. They find footprints. Okay? They go for miles and miles. 12 miles away, bro. It's snowing, bro. It's cold as fuck, dog. They find the kid, dude, 12 miles away, bro. And his clothes are neatly stacked next to him. He's got a few scratches on his face. But other than that, nothing happened to him. And this is in sub-zero temperatures. So there's a guy named Les Stroud. He's a survivalist, and he hears this story. And he's like, get the fuck out of here.
Right, like I am right now.
He's like, there's no way. He's like, I'm going to that spot, and I'm going to attempt to cover 12 miles in 20 hours in the dead of night in the snow like this kid did. Same time of year, everything.
Which he already knew
he didn't cover.
Wasn't going to happen.
Wasn't even close,
right.
bro. And he was like, I don't know how the fuck he did it, bro. 12 miles, 20 hours.
He had a
Sub-zero
cheetah.
temperatures.
A cheetah took him.
Wasn't even dressed for it, bro.
Damn it, man.
Last one. Jeff Boiler, former Marine. Then he became a deputy. Then he became a lawyer. Then he wanted to move out of the city to the country. Becomes a fucking deputy in fucking Oregon. He's got a buddy out there, chief of police. It's like, man, come move out here. It's foresty. You could be the chief of police. Or not chief of police. You could be a deputy out here. I'm the chief of police. He hires him. Cool.
Right.
He goes out there and he loves it. He's been out there quite a while and he's starting to fucking hike or some shit like that. And he's out there one day, bro. And he fucking sees this fucking thing looking at him, bro, about 20 feet above his head on this little like rocky ledge. And he's like, what the fuck is that? And the thing cocks its head and looks at him and shit. And he pulls his fucking strap like, fuck this shit, dude. And he sees it and he goes up there, dude, to see what it is. There's nothing there. And he's like, man, what the fuck? So he's like kind of looking around. All of a sudden, dude, a fucking tree breaks behind him and fucking slams to the ground. And he's like, oh shit, fool, what the fuck? And as he's backing up, another one. And he's like, well, wait a minute. The first one was way over there. That one was right behind me. There's no way whatever did that. So there's more than one. And then another one. And he's like, yo, there's a bunch of them, bro. And he's like, fuck this. And he just takes off running to his car. The whole way to his car, trees, bro. Trees. Giant trees in the forest, are snapping and breaking behind him, bro. And falling to the ground. This fool jumps in his car. He takes off, goes back to the station, and fucking talks to his buddy. He's like, yo, man, like.
It's like they're sending a message,
I
right?
gotta tell you what just happened to me, but you're gonna think I'm fucking crazy. And his buddy's like, what's up? The chief of police guy. And he tells him, and he goes, I don't think you're crazy. We get those stories all the time. Do you want to report it? You can. And he goes, nah, I'm good, bro. I don't want to make an official report. Now, I don't know how the story came out, but
damn,
he was not about to go there with it as a police officer.
So,
or maybe he did make an official report.
You going to get into your theory on the national parks?
Yeah, well, what I was thinking was maybe national parks, maybe the reason that they are national parks and maybe the reason they are off limits to, us is that maybe that's where the wild things are, dude. Maybe that's where the Sasquatch are, the Yetis are, and the different things that protect these different energy vortexes or whatever's out there. Who knows? I don't really know, but
so in order to keep us from wandering over there,
yeah.
But isn't that encouraging people to come though?
What?
Making it a national park, or do you think there's certain areas?
I think that they're not there like in mass numbers. You don't build there, you don't live there. You might go there.
I see what you're saying.
But you don't settle.
It's protected.
Yeah, it's protected.
Mm-hmm.
So people can't, live there. There's no Walmart. Nothing like that, but
right.
Yeah, dude. So, and then you look on the other side of the world. So we've talked about a redheaded giant. We talked about a redheaded the Sasquatch. Okay. So the giants in fucking the Mideast.
Mm-hmm.
You got the fucking Sasquatch out here. So far we've had them in Louisiana. You got sightings in the Pacific Northwest. You see them in Cali and shit like that. Then you got the Yeti in the Himalayas. And the most famous, well, because there was actually a photograph, was a British explorer by the name of Chris Shipton. He found footprints. The footprints are 13 inches long, 8 inches wide. Now, 13 inches long is not too crazy because my foot is about 11 and a half inches. So 13 is like, that's not too bad. But 8 inches wide, bro, is fucking huge. Huge. And there's some people that try to like dismiss it as a bear. When bears, when they're walking on all fours, they're saying that the front paw went and then the back paw went on top of the front paw. But the big toe is so accentuated, like a big round thing. It's like, dude, that's not a bear, bro.
Right.
The bear doesn't have a big fucking round toe like that, bro.
Bare necessities.
Bro, it's not a bear.
Bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife.
Bare
necessities.
What's that one from?
That's Mother Nature's recipe.
Is that Lion King?
I better stop singing that shit. I'm gonna get us in trouble. I'm tripping.
Is that Lion King?
No, Jungle Book.
Oh, Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Baloo
the
Oh
bear.
yeah. And then in 1921, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Howard Berry.
Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan.
He finds these fucking weird footprints. He reports it to the press, right? And that's where they came up with the abominable snowman.
Damn.
That's the first time that term was used. Abominable snowman.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We become. It's funny. Our movies are folklore, where we look at primitive. I hate that word. Ancient cultures as some of the things that they are saying is folklore. Well, our movies are folklore because there you go, the abominable snowman. It was an actual sighting, and then we turned it into some character.
Well, they call them wild men out there. That's another term for them. And what's interesting is in 1832, Brian Hodgson, who's like a British naturalist, he's writing about mammals in Nepal. He was talking about how there wasn't a lot of monkeys in the northern and central regions, but that the natives that he was with got into an altercation and were fleeing from, because they were scared, a wild man.
Wild thing.
Dun, 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 dun. And then the pre-Buddhist, ooh, wow, that was loud. The pre-Buddhist beliefs, there's a bunch of Himalayan people out there, the Lepchas, but they have a religion that predates them. It's called Bon. Yeah. And they worship the Yeti as a protector of Shambhala, which is the mystical realm out there. Yeah. And in that area, in the Himalayas and shit like that. Right. And what's weird, people have disappeared in that area. Like a whole kingdom disappeared out there. Whole kingdom disappeared. And they think that they either went underground and found that kingdom because they said that the mountain where they disappeared at connects to that kingdom. Have you ever seen those areas?
Are we talking about
like Tibet and all that shit? Yeah, like Tibet and all that.
Only on movies, bro. Not in.
But I know not in person, but like just documentaries or anything like that.
Somewhat like the monks and stuff.
Dude, they live so high up.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Zen
like
the fuck
way
out.
Way up there, bro.
That's beautiful.
Way up there, dog.
Right. Talk
way
about
up there,
ascending.
Like, yeah, 15,000 fucking
in
feet.
the clouds. Yeah.
And it's interesting. We were talking about the abominable snowman. We talk about Disney's association with the occult, and they have that ride at Disneyland called the Matterhorn,
right?
Which is about the Himalayas and
I
think the Matterhorn is at the is actually in the Swiss Alps, but still, yeah, he's in there. The Yeti's in there quite a few times. So yeah, I mean, they revere the Yeti. They don't fear the Yeti at all. Right. And the Yeti doesn't attack humans. And that it attacks, it lives off of like livestock and stuff like that, but it doesn't attack humans unless humans are threatening that realm of Shambhala. There's actually a lake out there that's kind of interesting. There's a lake. What was the name of that lake? Fuck, I don't know, but there's a lake, and they it might be called Skeleton Lake, and I'm gonna look it up, but they found all these skeletons in this lake, bro. Like thousands of skeletons.
What if there's like some agreement between humanity and these entities? It seems like these entities are protectors or keepers of, guardians. Like we think we're the guardians. Maybe they're the guardians, and we answer to them. And there's some type of agreement we have with them, and that's why it's hidden. It's because common man doesn't know about these, larger than life figures. Go ahead with the Skeleton Lake.
Yeah, no, I trip on this. It's called Roop, Roop Kund, Kund. Roop Kund is a high altitude glacial lake in the Uttarakhand state of India. It lies in the lap of Trishul Massif, located in the Himalayas. The area around the lake is uninhabited and is roughly at an altitude of 16,470 feet, surrounded by rock-strewn glaciers and snow-clad mountains. Okay, in this lake are thousands of skeletons, bro. They found all the humans, human bones, and they thought that it was like a mass extinction. Something happened there, and all these people died at once. But very recently, I forget how recent, but let's say it was 21st century, I believe. Someone said, you know what? Why don't we date all these bones just to see? Turned out these bones have been being thrown in that lake for the last 1,000 years.
Makes more sense to me.
So it's almost as if they have a theory that these are people who went looking for Shambhala,
Possibly, huh?
and the Yeti intervened and threw their bones in there, which is a possibility. It could also be some tribe.
Right.
It could also be wild
That's
animals.
how they.
I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
what
who
happened there. We
knows?
don't know what was going on there,
Right.
but I did find that really interesting.
That is interesting.
Rupkund Lake, man. It's fucking a trip, bro. Yeah, and there's thousands of fucking skeletons in there, and people go in there, and it's kind of like a tourist attraction. People were out there looking at it and shit, and I was like, man, that's kind of creepy. I don't know if I'd want to see that shit on a vacation, bro.
Right.
But maybe that'd be sick. You know, it'd be sick
To
fucking do an episode right there.
Hell yeah.
That would be dope. I'd be scared though, bro, because I'm scared of heights, and I don't know how the fuck I'd get way up there like that. To be honest with you,
We're gonna just take some pictures there and then go do the episode somewhere safer.
You know what I mean? We'll fucking green screen that shit, dude.
What was cool too though, like I spoke on, is when I was doing the research, and again it's the history of giants on YouTube. The third episode, I think, it spoke on like archaeology findings, and I noticed that a lot of them were here in America, man. It was cool. And a lot of the mounds that we've come to know is like maybe Native American, and they have a symbolic meaning, or they are landmarks for different areas, different tribes. They found a lot of skeletons there that were larger than normal, and unfortunately what the guy was saying is when the people find these bones, these skeletons, they report it to the Smithsonian. And the Smithsonian, obviously, because they have the experts, they have the history, the clout,
They got the money.
they come in and they obviously get the findings.
They pilfer.
And they put
They
it
take
on
all that shit.
Yeah. So people have been questioning, like, where are some of these things? And the Smithsonian said themselves, like, there is a part of the Smithsonian that is not for the public,
Yeah,
so
I bet.
yeah, it was interesting. Like I brought up Ohio, there was in California as well. A lot of the mounds, they said they found a lot of skeletal remains there.
Serpent Mound. Remember we talked about that on
we
one of the first podcasts?
For sure.
That's in
For
Ohio.
sure. That's what tripped me out, because there's mounds all over, northern, central, and South America. And and then when I said the history of some of the beliefs of the natives were that the giants created not only these mounds, but a lot of the structures we've seen. And I remember I had looked into some stuff before, which I've seen debunked now, but it was talking about like the huge forests of the past, which that is real, but they were talking about like different stone or calcium deposit things that could have been trees back in the day. Yeah,
That was dope though.
right. But also like craters and like canyons, like the Grand Canyon. What if those are quarries, or what if giants actually had some part in shaping those? So what was interesting though, the Smithsonian kept coming up. The more and more I looked into it, the Smithsonian kept coming up. And I know you brought it up. I don't know if you want to speak your piece on it, but what I want to say on the Smithsonian, because I was like, all right, we got to look into where's the money, find the backing on the Smithsonian, and what's the agenda.
Find the rich white guy.
And there's plenty. Here we go though. So I just wanted to read this, and this is straight from the Smithsonian website. I got it from the horse's mouth. Let's see. The Administrative Procedure Act, the Freedom of Information Act, and the Federal Advisory Committee Act. However, the U.S. Attorney General has concluded that the Smithsonian is so closely connected to the federal government that it shares the immunity of the United States from state and local regulation. In accordance with this doctrine, local zoning regulations, ABC licensing provisions, sales and use taxes, and real estate taxes are not applicable to the Smithsonian absent a specific federal statute. In parentheses, there are several instances in which Congress has required federal entities to comply with state and local laws, so questions about the applicability of specific state and local laws to the Smithsonian could be directed to the Office of General Counsel. So pretty much, man, they're not a branch of government, but they have immunity and power of government. So that's what I took from that, people. You guys can look it up yourself. Like I said, I'm getting this straight off the Smithsonian's website. So then I went to their members of Board of Regents, which is who controls this. And these change over time, but this is who it is currently. So I'm like, all right, let's see who it is. Chief Justice John G. Roberts Jr. He's the main guy. Next in line is Vice President Michael R. Pence. Sound familiar? Mike Pence. He's on the judge, Board of Regents.
A judge?
Uh-huh. It goes on. Senator.
What's the judge's name?
Chief Justice John G. Roberts Jr.
John G.
And I was going to give you guys some facts on all these people, but I'll just give you the people, and you guys can see what we're saying already. Senator John Boozman, Senator Patrick Leahy, Senator David Perdue, Representative Doris Matsu, another representative, a chairman. Let's see here. There is some people who are not connected to the government. Let me mention them as well. Steve Case, John Fahey, Roger W. Ferguson. The point is, if you look up these people, though, because they have a little biography right underneath this list of names that I'm saying. This is a screenshot, but I got this straight from their website. It tells you all their background, and they're very wealthy people, and they have all had connection to government if they're not currently in government at the moment, or big companies, corporation, etc. So yeah, these are very powerful people. So you have to ask yourself, why are they on the Board of Regents for the Smithsonian? So
let's talk about John Glover Roberts Jr., shall we?
Let's do it.
Phi Beta Kappa.
Get to the smoke. Thank you, Smooth, because I couldn't find it. I was thinking it, though.
Yes, sir. He
There he
graduated in 1976 with an AB summa cum laude and was elected to Phi Beta Kappa. Yes, sir.
Yeah, some interesting people. Matter of fact, let me pull it up, because it was a couple of them that I said that aren't affiliated with the government, but they still got some interesting histories
and then
Mike
Pence,
and titles.
huh? Mike Pence is second in charge.
Second in charge, yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't he be? Mike Pence, I'm sure, is super qualified to fucking guard the fucking Ark after Indiana Jones finds it. You know what I'm saying?
That's how I felt reading
He's the
names.
dickhead in the suit that fucks up everything for Indiana Jones at the end of the movie, and he's like, damn, he's all mad because he doesn't get any fucking, he's like, it belongs in a museum, and that fool puts it in a big ass fucking wooden box in a crate in a warehouse. Motherfucker.
How did I find that shit on their website? I'm gonna tell the people too so they could look it up. I forgot.
All right.
I'm on their website
well,
right now.
in the meantime and in between time,
talk to us.
I'm going to do some product placement.
Hey.
Corona Extra, la cerveza más fina.
But you was talking about this fly merch we got on.
Oh, yeah.
Because we do got that coronavirus shirt too for the people.
Buddy. Look at this
and
one.
we got some new ones on the way. So they sent me the new designs. Those are fire, but I can't speak on those yet, people. Yeah, but they are fire, though.
This is a lot of beer for me. I think this is number 6.
I'm over it, man. But the Smithsonian website you can go to. I'm on it right now. I just don't remember how I found that board
I think we
trustees.
Know that these motherfuckers are up to something,
They connected.
Bro. Come on, man. Because we already talking like, bro, the Smithsonian. Okay, we'll trip on this.
Hold on. Let me give you this because I really want to put my phone down.
Please
and
do.
then we could finish this up.
Nah, don't ever
This
put
is Abraham Lincoln. Because people historical people.
Yeah, I want to hear that giant shit.
Abraham Lincoln said, Columbus first sought this continent when Christ suffered on the cross, when Moses led Israel through the Red Sea. Nay, even when Adam first came from the hand of his maker, then and now Niagara was roaring here. The eyes of that species of extinct giants whose bones fill the mounds of America have gazed on Niagara as ours do now. Contemporary with the whole race of men and older than the first man. Niagara is strong and fresh to this day as 10,000 years ago. The mammoth and mastodon, now so long dead, that fragments of the monstrous bones alone testify that they ever lived and have gazed on Niagara. So he was really speaking about Niagara, but he just dropped in that little gem about the giants and the mounds. I was like, that was interesting. Abraham Lincoln.
Fucking A, bro.
Right,
and you know that's honest A, bro.
Yeah, honest A.
That fool don't lie. If he said it, it is what it is. 124. Know what I'm saying?
You feel
So,
me?
Trip on this.
Trip.
You're talking about the fucking Smithsonian. All right. So in South America, there's these giants. Motherfuckers have red hair, and they were thought to have come across the ocean on rafts. That's what the ancient these natives down there said.
Okay.
Now there was tribes in local in the Southwest area as well, like in Nevada, and they said the same thing. Red-headed giants that came across the ocean on rafts. Okay.
Of reed, huh?
Yeah, of reed. Exactly. And what they ended up happening was these giants were fucking everything up over here. So the tribes got together and battled the giants. The last of these giants is said to have gone to a cave in Nevada. It's called Lovelock Cave. It's still there. You can go check it out for yourself. You guys, you can look this up for yourself. Lovelock, Lovelock. And they went into the cave, and the tribe's people lit the front of the cave on fire and smoked all these fucking giants out. Okay? So fast forward, it's like 1912. They're doing a cave excavation, and I'm trying to find the guy's name. Anyway, this guy finds the cave. Some natives tell him about the story, and they're like, yeah, the cave is right there. So he's like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah. So he goes into the cave, and he finds fucking big giant fucking skeletons. Just like he promised there would be, like they promised there'd be.
Right.
So he comes out, he leaves, he goes home, he gets some shit together, and he comes back, and he was talking about it, but not really thinking of anything about it. Well, when he comes back, all of a sudden, that very fucking cave had been purchased by a guano company, people mining for fucking bat shit. And he was like, what the fuck? Well, there's a lot of people that feel that was a ruse, like a front for the Smithsonian to go in there, dig, take all the artifacts out, right? And even if it was a fucking guano company that just so happened to find this fucking cave or whatever the fuck happened, they didn't take care of anything. So they go in there and they fucking, that shit's, I think, until like 21? Something like that. I mean, years later. It's about 10 years later. And they go in there, bro, and they start digging around. Bro, they find fucking 3 fucking skeletons, bro, that were 8 to 10 feet in height.
Damn.
3 skeletons. And
from what is left.
From what's left.
Yeah.
And nearby, in a dry riverbed, they found an 8.5-foot skeleton and a 10-foot skeleton. Almost like a fucking parent and child type deal.
Wasn't there also go ahead and tell them about that.
Yeah, bro.
The handprint.
There's a handprint.
Yeah.
There's a giant fucking handprint on a rock that was made of soot.
I heard him talk about that part.
Yeah,
I remember you told me first.
Like the hand got, it was smoke in there,
right.
And they fucking put their hand on that rock and created that giant handprint.
Because they smoked them out.
Yeah, and for reference, they put up a giant fucking buck knife against it, the Bowie knives, and I mean, it was bigger than that. It was huge.
What came to mind as you're telling this story is a lot of stories over time, and native peoples all over the world have told accounts of ancient men coming together to fight against giants. Just like you're saying, it's like that's the oral tradition of it is like, yeah, there's giants, and every now and then we have to. Maybe that's how they ended up in the caves. I don't know. Maybe the giants we didn't always have control of that situation,
right.
And
I think about that all the time.
We, were able to overcome them, and now they're relegated to the damn caves.
Yeah.
And it is interesting how you point out, like, oftentimes when we go to war or when we're in like whatever you call the cradle of society or civilization over there, like Iraq and Iran, and a lot of those Pakistan, Syria, and there's some of those countries, I don't know for sure, I could be dead wrong, but when we see on television, they have like those cave or cavernous settings,
Yeah.
Even that monolith that we talked about in Utah, it's like a cavernous setting.
Yeah.
Like, shit's crazy.
Yeah.
Who knows, bro? Like,
For sure.
what's in them damn caves? We always think of, like, bats.
And what made the caves?
We see it on television.
The caves, these are cave systems. These aren't like, oh, yeah, water eroded through here. And no, bro. No, they're cave systems. They're functioning cave systems. They make sense. They're intellectually laid out, bro. Someone dug them. Someone or something dug them. And it correlates with the story of the fucking white race, bro. It does. Right? Or inner earth. Beings that live inside the earth. However you want to look at it.
I was thinking about that too.
Both.
Inner earth, yeah. Damn. Fascinating.
Super fascinating.
Shit.
You know? Yeah. It really is. I mean, there's all types of uncharted territory, dude. Look at fucking, what's a good example? Amelia Earhart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she's transversing she's the first one to go across the Atlantic, I think it was. The first female pilot.
Yeah, she was, yeah.
And so she's
by herself.
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think she takes off from San Francisco. She's like, fuck it, I'm going to go around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to fly around the world. She gets around the Pacific, over there, south of Japan area, and they don't hear from her anymore. And her fucking... you know, all kinds of theories are thrown out there. She was shot down by the Japanese. They thought she was a spy or some shit.
Yeah.
She, you know, of course, they thought she was obviously was dead and crashed in the ocean somewhere. But what was weird was there's an island. Let me find it for sure. There's a Niku Maroro, and 3 years later, it's 350 nautical miles, so 350 miles southwest of Howland, which was the island that her and her co-pilot were supposed to land at.
Mm-hmm.
They find remains, 13 bones of a skeleton, and the rest are like missing.
Bingo.
Okay, and from what they found though, they send it to these doctors in Fiji, and forensics. This is 1940. Is nothing like what it is now,
mm-hmm.
and
which blew my mind when I. Still, even though they're saying that, I'm like, come on now. Maybe the cover up was already
right, exactly.
On
they probably just were like, what the fuck?
How did you just
they didn't want people to know, yeah,
without even a second opinion or anything?
For sure. So
you
they
find
came to
bones when you're looking for a person.
Well, plus the height and everything. They came to the conclusion that it was a 5'5" European
male, right?
Male.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a really short ass white dude on this weird ass island right by where a 5'5" white female should have been. Are you sure it's not a female?
Makes me think that wasn't an accident.
Yeah. Well, they probably didn't want people to know the truth, you know, like what really happened. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, so they fucking dismiss it and they're like, yeah, that's not fucking her. All right. So fast forward in 2017, this forensic anthropologist, he re-examines the bones.
Damn,
now,
that was recent.
Yeah. He doesn't have the actual bones because they were discarded, but he has the records.
Mm-hmm.
And from the records and all that, he's able to determine without a doubt. He's like, dude, that's her.
Yeah.
So they go to the island and they do some digging around and they find a bunch of bottles that were from the 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
And one in particular is freckle cream.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was pretty much sold, bro.
Right.
I was like, yo, maybe, you know, there's some discrepancy on the bones, even though it seems pretty probable.
Right.
But then when they said they recreated the broken shards of glass and they knew that she used the freckle cream and this was the exact shape of the type of bottle that her freckle cream was served in, I was like, well, that's
obviously her.
Yeah,
she hated her freckles. She had the freckle cream.
Yeah,
so
that was her.
There's a campfire on that fucking island. And so they know that, like, whoever that person was, right, at the time when they're thinking this, they're like, well, whoever it was living here on the island.
They had time to make a fire.
They had time at least to make a fire.
Mm-hmm.
So they come to the conclusion, okay, yeah, it was her. They found the freckle cream, the bones, all that. So she crashed there. She survived the crash. Obviously, probably her co-pilot didn't.
Did they ever find his bones, remains?
No.
So
only
just hers. Okay.
Only hers.
Mm-hmm.
And they did find off that island, too, it looked like a piece of her landing gear.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they come to the conclusion, bro, because this island, bro, and this is what I'm talking about, uncharted territory. This island is the only island in the fucking world, bro, of all places for her to crash land to. It's the only island in the world that's home to a species of crab known as the coconut crab. It's 3 feet long, and its pinchers are as strong as a lion's jaw.
That's the only island?
It's the only island in the world.
Damn. That's some fucked up.
So what they do is they can climb.
You know what it makes me think of? You know
What?
how you watch those movies where somebody's stranded or they're like in a predicament where they're trying to find land?
Yeah.
And then you see land and you're just like, fuck, I'm good.
Yeah.
And you find that land of all the islands. You find Coconut Crab Island.
Exactly.
God damn, with the alien 3-foot crabs.
Exactly.
Fuck that.
So they climb trees.
She
So
might have
they're
been better off.
you can't even hide from them, bro, because they climb trees to get the coconuts, and then they crack them fucking coconuts open with their claws.
So they'll come and get your ass.
And you love coconuts, so
I
you
love
know
them.
how strong they are.
I'm going to Coconut without the Crab Island.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're able to come to the conclusion because apparently, bro, they've gone to this island, different scientists and whatnot, and have studied what these crabs do, how they live.
Yeah.
Bro, they storm the beach at night. They said by the thousands. There's thousands of them, bro.
Holy shit.
Thousands.
That's probably one of the scariest sights you could think of.
Thousands.
I seen them impaling a bird.
Yeah. And that if they can't,
stabbed 'em,
exactly.
and
That's
then
what
he
I was
just-
getting
Ah!
to. If they cannot get coconuts, brother, they will eat
Damn.
meat. They will eat meat. So
Yeah,
because
tell 'em.
they didn't find the other bones, what they are pretty sure happened because they did an experiment. They took a pig carcass out there. Did you see that?
And they devoured it. Yeah.
They
It
threw
was
the pig carcass out there.
sped up.
Yeah,
Yep.
and time lapse camera,
Mhm.
and that fucking thing was horrible. They came from everywhere.
I thought they were going to even eat the bone.
yeah,
They
and-
probably ate some of the bone.
Well, yeah. Well, there's some. What they'll do is they'll take the bone back to their burrows. That's why there was only 13 bones. They took some of that bitch with her. So I don't know if she succumbed to her injuries and then they devoured her, or if she was fucking bleeding from her injuries. Because I do know that they smell blood extremely well too. That's another thing.
What if she had crab dinner and they was like, "We gonna get you,
Right.
boy."
Exactly. But they said if one attacks, the rest swarm.
Shit,
That's just what it is.
man. So we've uncovered
If
the
one-
mystery, you
yeah.
guys.
Amelia
Sorry.
Amelia Earhart was not taken prisoner by the fucking Japanese. She was eaten
She's still a hero.
on Nikumuroro by coconut crabs, which is fucking crazy. And it's just going back to what you said. And another thing, bro, you want to talk about uncharted territory. I'm sure you've been to the zoo. Have you ever seen pandas? You ever seen a panda?
Yes.
Aren't they
I
wonderful?
think so, yes.
Aren't they cute?
Yes.
Did you know they didn't know what a fucking panda was till 1915?
Remember I talked about it on one of these pods? I was like, they were trying to figure out how to find them because they're so reclusive. Well, go ahead.
Exactly.
Because I don't know what
Exactly.
you found. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I'm making it.
And they're revered. Yeah.
I'm just making a
in
point.
China. Yeah.
That exactly. They're revered.
I got you.
They couldn't find them.
Right.
What about the Yeti? What about Sasquatch?
They're revered.
Right. And
We
you can't
can't
find
find
them. And just because you can't find them doesn't mean they're not there, dude.
For sure.
You couldn't find pandas, which we've seen now. And maybe that's why they don't want to be seen. Maybe they don't want to be taken captive and put in a fucking zoo. And maybe they have more intelligence than a bear, and they're like, fuck these dudes.
When we did the Star Child episode, that was Lloyd Pye's one of his postulates. He used the panda. That's when I brought up
Right.
the panda because I didn't really know about that.
Right.
He gave the history on how we tracked them down and how long it fucking took.
Exactly.
Took them like 30 years, bro,
That's
to
what I'm
find
saying.
them motherfuckers.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is, in 1912 we discovered them, but then it still took us a long ass time to figure out how they move and how we can capture.
sure.
Obviously, capture one is
For
what
sure.
we wanted
But
to
just
do.
to even see
so
one,
we couldn't
though.
even capture that
Just
motherfucker.
to see it, though, like, oh my God, they are real.
Yeah,
They are real. 1915.
and it's black and white and huge and slow.
Yeah.
So it's like, how did we not?
Right.
But that's how good. That's a good point, though. Yeah. It
So
made me
we don't
really
know what's out there,
rethink
bro.
it when Lloyd Pye broke it down, and then he broke down how much of our terrain isn't surveyed on land or on foot. It's just mostly overhead.
Yeah.
Going again to the national parks, because my thought was, well, they are inviting us to walk through. Maybe it's like Antarctica, bro. They're inviting us to walk through this little section for tourists, you know, and the rest is still wild man.
Exactly.
Wild man territory, bro.
Well, trip on this too. Here's another good example.
Shit.
We talked about the pandas.
Yeah.
There's a fucking fisherman who was out fucking in a like a little canoe one day, and he's getting his fucking catch, whatever, and he's coming back to the village, and he sees these fucking banana trees, bro, a gang of them, bro, and he's like, damn, and they're all ripe, and he's like, fuck that, I go over there with my machete, and I can just cut down a gang of bananas, take them home to my family.
Right.
This fool goes up in the tree, starts cutting them down, all of a sudden feels a sharp ass pain in his side. And he's like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh shit. And it really starts hurting. So he kind of drops from the tree back into his boat. And he's like, damn. About an hour later, bro, this fucking bigger like kind of fishing ship is out there. And they see the dude's boat just kind of floating out there in the tide and shit. They look in there, old boy's dead as a motherfucker, bro. Fuck. I'm like, what the fuck? Fast forward, there's a lighthouse. A few years later, there's a lighthouse right there on that same island with the bananas and shit. And to work there, you got to live there because it's an island. So you have to actually like live in the fucking lighthouse. So this guy takes the job, moves out there with his wife and his 2 kids, and he's out there and he's running the lighthouse. Well, a couple weeks later, they report that the lighthouse isn't working anymore. So they go out there to see what's going on, and they go up there, and the dude and his fucking wife and his kids are fucking dead, bro. Dead inside the fucking lighthouse, bro. Well, it turns out that this fucking particular island, bro, is inhabited with the deadliest fucking viper in the world. And because there's no people, these vipers have reproduced without fucking any sort of human interference. Like, no, you can't do that. So every square meter, which is basically 3 feet, okay? Every square 3 feet, there's one of those snakes.
Damn.
On the entire island.
Per square footage. Yeah.
And even and because they can climb trees, it's even up above you. So 360 degrees around you.
They set that motherfucker up for that light job.
Every 3 feet.
Somebody knew that, man.
Crazy, right?
They didn't tell him that on the application.
So these are these things on this planet.
All money ain't good money.
Man.
That's fucked up.
We don't even know what's happening.
Right.
You know?
It's dope though. I mean, it's not dope that happened to him.
I know what you mean, bro. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's like, dude.
It's cool to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's tons of shit, man.
Yeah. Especially because we think that we're the end all be all, but shit, them snakes is doing pretty well. They like, fuck, no humans here. We good.
They don't feel too bad about what's going on. Neither do those coconut crabs.
We running amok.
Those crabs don't feel
on their own island.
Their own
isolated,
island, bro.
like,
go ahead.
it.
Go visit that shit. That shit's fucking creepy, bro. It makes me kind of not want to travel.
That's
like,
that land beyond the poles.
Yeah, that's horrible, dude. They're gross, too. Hey, look them up. Coconut crabs, you guys. Look them up. They're fucking disgusting.
Hey, Smooth, as forward thinking as we is, maybe we ain't ready to see what's beyond the poles. It probably got some coconut crabs and some super vipers.
All kinds of shit, bro.
Know.
I may not be able to see that shit.
Right along with the beauty, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful thing I've motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that giant rose with the biggest fucking bee I've ever seen in my life coming out of it.
Shit turned into Jumanji on our ass.
Oh, hell no, bro.
I'm hydroplaning there to see it. I don't got to go with my real physical body. I'm a hydroplane there.
Man. Hey, dog. I'm telling you right now, astral projection, bro.
There you go.
Dude, listen. I do that, man. I do that. And my mom, she used to tell me when she was young that, she told me that when she was young, she used to have these dreams that she was flying. And I was like, flying? She goes, yeah, like floating. Then I started noticing. She goes, yeah, but they're just night terrors. She calls them night terrors because, sometimes that shit's hard to wake up from. Mm-hmm. But what I've learned is not to panic when it happens, because you can't like force yourself to wake up sometimes.
Right.
And I control it, and I know it's happening.
Dope.
And I'm able to float around. I floated out of my room the other day.
That's fire, bro.
Straight the fuck up.
That's
now,
cool.
I don't know. It could be a dream. I'm not saying I'm not dreaming this. And the feeling is just like some feeling that my brain is giving me, because, your brain is all stimulation and it's just right. So it totally could have been that. But that's what the dream was. That's what it felt like. And I controlled myself to do it without panicking.
To me, that's the difference.
Without panicking.
Because most of us think of a dream as being more passive.
Yeah.
And even oftentimes when you do start to feel like you're in control, you seem to wake up sometimes.
Yeah.
So there's almost a balance. Like, don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Don't fight it, know. And I want to tap into that more, because I've had that feeling, and I have fought it or been scared in those moments. Or I've even seen other people. And you'll see them, and then you wake them up, and they're like, "Oh, thank you for waking me up," And maybe those are moments that we should capitalize on. That's like opening up a door to another portal.
Yeah.
And you're like too scared, almost like I was just saying, like, who knows?
Yeah.
Damn, how'd we get there? I like where we just went.
I love it.
Yeah, it was beautiful. This is beautiful.
This
Kush
is
and
so dope.
motherfucking chemtrails, man.
Kush and Chemtrails. Shit's wild.
KushAndChemtrails.com, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, and since you were talking about astro projecting, shout out to NLE Choppa. I like that young dude. He's like a young artist, probably only like 19, 20 years old, young man, I should say. But he be talking about stuff like that, and like his presence and fire bending and air bending, and just being in tune with his body and one with nature and shit is dope. And he had a little skirmish with YouTube recently, because they were shadow banning him, and then they actually deleted one of his videos just because he had an alternative view on
that's the dude you were telling me
on
about.
the pandemic. And he just has some dope messaging. I really want to champion him, because I know the kids need different type of role models, and I think he really does a good job of providing that. I had screenshot some of his tweets just to share, because I really like the dude, and I see what they're trying to silence him, because as me and you talked about when DJ Styles was on here, DJ DeCapo, there was that meeting about pushing a gangster rap narrative.
Right.
And I think people like this brother, get the wrath of that, because they don't want his narrative to be. It's too powerful. I've been undergoing the most blackballing shit ever. Every time I drop my songs, YouTube either crashes, I get a spam, a dislike that blocks it from trending. And today I dropped Paradise video, and they straight deleted my shit. They hate a smart melanin king, and it's been showing a lot. Folks straight deleted me because they know they know the message I'm speaking is powerful. This is some bullshit. And then he says, they're trying to quarantine around this time. Let me see what he's saying. December 21st, around the time the sun will go down for 3 days. If you haven't been meditating, grounding, eating the right food, or just doing spiritual. Hold on, let me open up. Damn, it's a screenshot, so I can't even open it up. But yeah, man, check out NLE Choppa. Protect your mind, body, and soul was another one of his tweets. I like the young dude, man.
Yep.
And I support him in his fight against the censorship, because it's some bullshit. Every time I come on this episode or on a pod, I got to say something about it, because it's like new things happen every time. They just think they can snatch people's content down. And I guess they can, because I also screenshotted YouTube put out new, what's it called when they have you agree to their new terms? They put out new terms recently.
Licensing agreement or no, just agreement like
it is
like
pretty
terms.
much a licensing agreement, because what they pretty much did now is the new thing is all payments are going to be considered royalties now. So they're no longer just paying you like YouTube, like as a content creator. Now it's all going to be royalties, and also they have all rights.
What's that mean?
I don't
so
even,
that they own it.
I don't even know fully, bro.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
just
what
like
that
a
means?
record company. Yeah,
that's what that means.
And it also said, it went on to say that. It said that they have all rights to our content. They can redistribute it. They can recreate it. They can pretty much do anything with our content
without fucking paying us.
in the guise of using their or promoting their platform. And then it also said
that makes sense.
they can monetize our page without us making money, which they've been doing anyways, but just to make you agree to it, like to make it clear, we can put ads up on your shit that you won't get paid for if you're not in the group of YouTube creators that we deem worthy of monetization. You know what I mean? And it's not even clear anymore what makes you worthy of monetization. Like, see, I go back to the days when I was a YouTube, we still are, but when I first started my YouTube page,
when you were stripping,
10 plus
hey, this
years
fool
ago,
Buck used to strip.
I did everything to get my YouTube page popping.
That fool used to have long hair. He tied that shit in a ponytail, and they called him Tony the Tiger, and he was great.
Man, we could wrap this shit up, but yeah, man, I've been doing this YouTube shit for a long time and just seen how they changed it and made it not user friendly anymore. So that shit ain't cool, YouTube. So get it together, because real content creators will find another avenue. So
that shit ain't cool, YouTube.
You're shooting yourself in the foot. It's not, of course, small people like us can't make enough noise to affect your bottom line, but we built your bottom line. That's the problem. But soon enough, people will realize their power like we are doing and capitalize on it.
Oh, you better respect us, YouTube.
Capitalize.
We got fucking custom mic flags.
You feel me?
We got our own merch.
Yeah.
We got fucking canvases in the background that say our names and shit.
We in hell.
If you look on this side of the screen over here somewhere right now, there's a custom watermark. Says Kush And Chemtrails. Fuck that shit.
What you thought? Man, let's get high, man. I'm mad I didn't bring my dab rig.
Well, let's get high then. Let's get out of here. You guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll see you next Friday. We love you.
Love y'all.
Kush And Chemtrails. We're
Kush
out.
And Chemtrails. Peace.
Kush and Chemtrails, the world's most dangerous podcast.